Have you ever watched your life's work reduced to 3 words on a screen while strangers nodded in agreement? The slide appeared, "Dismiss servant role," and someone coughed to cover a laugh. I didn't blink. I counted the grain patterns in the conference table and measured the distance to the exit. 32 years vanished in a PowerPoint bullet point. The Ethelgard Initiative's boardroom smelled different that November afternoon. Fresh paint-covered walls I'd helped choose in 2003, lemon cleaning solution, my choice from when we could finally afford proper supplies, mixed with something sharper. Expensive cologne, maybe, corporate confidence. I sat in the back corner, hands folded, watching Gregory Hollis flip through slides about operational efficiency. 15 board members filled the room. Most were new, most were strangers. Their leather chairs squeaked against polished floors as they leaned forward, engaged, nodding like this mattered. Gregory clicked to a slide titled Personnel Transitions. My name appeared under a bullet point. Dismiss servant role, replaced by executive leadership structure. Not founder, not director, not even Annalise Thorne, who built this from 3 card tables in a church basement 32 years ago. Dismissed servant. The words burned. A young board member in the front row, Bethany, I think, raised her hand. Who will serve as the new executive director? Gregory smiled. He adjusted his cufflinks, silver, probably expensive, and said, "We're pleased to introduce our new owner and CEO." My stomach dropped. Owner? Nonprofits don't have owners. We have missions, communities, people we serve. The screen changed. A woman's face appeared. Professional headshot, navy suit, confident smile. Monica Elaine Thorne. My breath caught. Monica, Patricia's daughter, my niece. The girl I'd helped raise after Patricia's messy divorce when Monica was 7. The college student I'd mentored through social work school, staying up late reviewing her case study papers. The 31-year-old who'd stopped answering my calls 6 months ago. She stepped into the room wearing that navy suit I'd never seen before. Our eyes met for one terrible second. She looked away first. The room continued. Gregory spoke about streamlined operations and fiscal responsibility and modernization. Someone asked about donor retention. Someone else mentioned grant cycles. Bethany took notes on a yellow legal pad, her pen moving fast. I sat still. Cold November light filtered through windows I'd fundraised to replace in 2011. The conference table, donated by a local furniture company in 2015, had 63 visible grain lines from my seat. I counted them twice to be sure. Monica stood beside Gregory now. She didn't look at me again. She thanked the board for their confidence. She outlined her vision for expanded services. Her voice sounded rehearsed. The meeting adjourned at 3:47 p.m. People stood. Handshakes, congratulations. Someone mentioned coffee in the break room. Gregory approached me as others filed out. He slid a document across the table. "Formality," he said. "Your signature on the resignation paperwork." I looked down. My signature. Already there. Dated October 15th, 2 weeks before Patricia's funeral. I'd never seen this paper before. Monica's navy suit cost more than 3 months of my old salary. I'd never seen it before. Neither had I seen the document Gregory slid across the table. My signature on a resignation letter dated 2 weeks before Patricia's funeral. Drop servant if you'd have walked out. Drop receipts if you'd have started taking notes. My key didn't turn. The deadbolt had been changed that morning, 7:14 a.m., according to the maintenance log I'd later obtain. I stood outside the Ethelgard Initiative at 8:30 a.m., coffee in one hand, key ring in the other. The same keys I'd carried since 1993. Silver, worn smooth at the edges, attached to a keychain Patricia gave me that read Changemaker. They didn't work. I tried twice more. The deadbolt didn't budge. A security guard appeared from inside. Young guy, maybe 25. I'd never seen him before. "Ma'am, this area is staff only." I stared at him. "I'm Annalise Thorne. I'm the—" "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step back from the entrance." He held a clipboard. My name wasn't on it. Behind him, through the glass doors, I saw my life in a cardboard box. Recycled. Brown. Sitting on the floor beside the reception desk. "That's my office," I said. "Those are my things." He glanced back. "I'll check with management. Please wait here." He disappeared inside. The doors locked behind him with a soft click. I waited. 18 minutes, according to my watch. Patricia's watch, actually, the one she'd left me before she died. Silver face, black leather band. Still keeping perfect time. The guard returned. He carried the box. "These were cleared from the storage area," he said. "I'm authorized to release them to you." He set the box down on the sidewalk between us. I looked inside. Coffee mug from 1997 chipped at the rim. White ceramic with Volunteer Appreciation Week printed in fading blue letters. I'd used it every morning for 28 years. Framed photo from the 2001 ribbon-cutting ceremony. Me, younger, smiling, holding oversized scissors beside the mayor. The frame's glass had cracked. Diagonal lines splitting my face in half. Patricia's watch, the one I'd kept in my desk drawer as backup. Her initials engraved on the back. P.A.T. A small succulent plant in a clay pot. Half dead. That was it. 32 years in a recycled box. "Ma'am, I need you to clear the entrance." I picked up the box. It weighed almost nothing. As I walked to my car, my phone buzzed. Email notification. Subject: Access revoked. Former personnel. Sent from noreply@ethelgardinitiative.org. I opened it. "Dear former staff member, your email access has been terminated effective immediately. Please direct all future inquiries through our main office line. Thank you for your service." My email account, the one I'd created in 2001, the one connected to every grant, every donor, every family we'd ever helped, now sent me termination notices. I sat in my car holding the chipped coffee mug. The succulent soil felt dry. Ever been locked out of something you built with your own hands? Ruth Kowalski's handwriting hadn't changed in 18 years. Neat, accountant precise, each letter a small act of integrity. The manila envelope arrived on my third sleepless night. No return address. Postmarked Milwaukee. Standard mail, nothing express, nothing urgent. Just Ruth's handwriting on the front. Annalise Thorne in blue ink. I opened it at my kitchen table. 11:43 p.m. Decaf tea gone cold beside me. Inside, 3 items. First, Ruth's resignation letter. 1 page. Dated November 18th, the day after the board meeting. Effective immediately, I resign my position as bookkeeper for the Ethelgard Initiative. After 18 years of faithful service, I can no longer maintain financial records for an institution conducting itself without integrity. Annalise Thorne deserved better. Short, professional, devastating. Second, copies. Lots of copies. Emails between Gregory and Monica, printed, highlighted, dated. I spread them across the table. The earliest, March 14th, 3 weeks before Patricia died. Subject line, transition timeline, confidential. Gregory's message laid out a plan. Board restructuring during bereavement leave. Minimal resistance expected. Legal documentation prepared. Compensation structure attached. Monica's reply, same day, 4:17 p.m. She won't see it coming. When do we begin? My hands shook. More emails. April dates. May dates. June dates while I sat beside Patricia's hospital bed. July dates while I planned her memorial service. August dates while I scattered her ashes at the community garden she loved. They'd planned everything while I grieved. Subject lines jumped out. Board recruitment. Vetted candidates. Locksmith appointment confirmed. Salary negotiation. $140K approved. Transition announcement draft. Review attached. One email from Monica to Gregory, dated September 2nd. What about the founder title? Gregory's response. Eliminate it. Use dismiss servant in personnel records. Creates legal distance. I read that line 5 times. Creates legal distance. Third item. The smoking gun. My resignation letter. Or rather, someone's version of it. The Ethelgard Initiative letterhead. My name typed at the bottom. My signature in blue ink. Effective October 15th, I resign all positions and responsibilities at the Ethelgard Initiative. I relinquish any claims to titles, compensation, or organizational authority. This decision is voluntary and final. Dated October 15th, 2 weeks before Patricia's funeral. I'd been at the funeral home that day selecting an urn. I held the paper up to the light. The signature looked right. Slight loop on the A. Flat line through the double N in Thorn. But I'd never signed this. Ruth's post-it note stuck to the back. They planned this. You deserve better. I kept copies. She'd kept everything. Email chains, board meeting minutes I'd never received, financial transfers I'd never approved, Monica's employment contract, $140,000 annual salary, triple what I'd ever made. One board meeting minute dated September 10th included an agenda item. Approved termination of lead volunteer position, A. Thorn. Lead volunteer, not founder, not director. They'd voted while I was on bereavement leave. Unanimous approval. One piece of paper can prove everything. Miss it, lose everything. Subscribe so you recognize the proof when it arrives. I organized the documents into 3 stacks. Emails, financial records, forged signatures. The earliest email, March 14th, 3 weeks before Patricia died. Subject line, transition timeline, confidential. Monica's reply, she won't see it coming. Malcolm Hayes read for 11 minutes without speaking. His pen moved twice, circling Monica's name, underlining forged signature. His office sat on the 4th floor of a restored building in downtown Madison. Brick walls, high ceilings, law books lining shelves, spines worn soft from actual use. Photos covered one wall. Clients, all nonprofits, all smiling at ribbon cuttings and fundraiser galas. Wisconsin bar certificate dated 1998 hung beside his desk. I'd found him through an online search. Nonprofit Fraud Attorney Wisconsin. His website mentioned 20 years specializing in organizational misconduct cases. Simple language, no corporate jargon, just results. He'd agreed to meet within 48 hours. Malcolm was 50-something. Soft-spoken, with silver gray hair and reading glasses he wore low on his nose. He'd asked 3 questions when I called. Did they document the termination? Do you have proof of planning? Are financial irregularities involved? Yes. 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 Now he sat across from me reviewing Ruth's envelope contents. He took no written notes. I'd learn later he had photographic memory. 11 minutes of silence except for paper shuffling. Finally, he looked up. Miss Thorn, this is fraud. I know. No, I mean criminal fraud. Signature forgery. Fiduciary misconduct. Possible financial crimes. He tapped the emails. These establish premeditation. Timeline proves intent. The forged resignation is prosecutable. My chest tightened. Can we fix this? We can do better than fix it. He picked up his desk phone, pressed speaker. Let me bring someone in. 3 rings. A woman answered. Iris Chen. Iris, Malcolm Hayes. I'm sitting with a client. Nonprofit founder. Removed during bereavement leave. Signature forged on resignation paperwork. Multiple financial red flags. Can you run a forensic audit? Send me the documents. I can start tonight. Malcolm glanced at me. I nodded. Sending now, he said. Over the next 40 minutes, Malcolm outlined a strategy. Step 1. Document everything. Ruth's evidence plus my personal records. Every grant I'd written, every donor contact, every board meeting I'd actually attended. Step 2. Public records request. Wisconsin's open records law meant board meeting minutes were public. We'd compare official versions against Ruth's copies. Step 3. Trace the money. Iris would examine all financial transactions from January forward. Wire transfers, salary approvals, vendor payments, grant distributions. Step 4. File emergency injunction. Freeze the organization's accounts. Suspend board authority. Force judicial oversight. How long? I asked. Iris needs 1 week for preliminary findings. I'll draft the motion simultaneously. We file in 10 days. What if they destroy evidence? Ruth already copied it. The forgery's dated and notarized. They can't undo that. The emails have metadata, timestamps, IP addresses, routing information. This isn't their word against yours. It's documented conspiracy. Malcolm's final question cut clean. Ms. Thorne, when you founded the center, did anyone ever formalize your ownership in writing? I felt my stomach drop. No. We were 3 card tables in a church basement. He nodded slowly. That complicates things, but it doesn't end them. Predict. Can you win when nothing was ever on paper? Iris found the first wire transfer on page 47, the second on page 92. By page 200, she stopped counting and started mapping. The conference call came 6 days after my Madison meeting. Malcolm on speaker from his office, Iris calling from Chicago where she'd been reviewing financial records, bank statements, donor accounts, grant disbursements, every transaction since January. Her voice was flat, factual, devastating. Annalise, I've identified 3 categories of irregularities. I sat at my kitchen table with a notebook and pen. Go ahead. First, wire transfers. The center received a $340,000 federal grant in May for youth employment programs. Standard distribution, except $125,000 moved out within 72 hours. Where? Shell company registered in Delaware. Name, Midwest Community Solutions, LLC. Filed 4 weeks before the grant arrived. Dissolved 3 weeks after the transfer. No legitimate business activity. I wrote it down. Midwest Community Solutions, LLC. Gregory's company? I asked. Can't prove it yet, but the LLC's registered agent used a Chicago address. Same building as Gregory's law firm. Malcolm's voice cut in. That's wire fraud if we can establish his control. Iris continued. Second irregularity, salary approvals. Monica Thorne's employment contract shows $140,000 annual compensation. That's triple your historical salary, Annalise. Board minutes show approval dated September 15th, retroactive to July 1st. I was on bereavement leave in September. Exactly. The vote happened without you. Unanimous approval. But here's the problem. The center's budget only allocated $85,000 for the executive director position. Where's the additional $55,000 coming from? Silence. Grant funds, Iris said. Youth employment grants specifically. Money designated for job training programs is covering executive salary overages. My stomach turned. That's illegal. Extremely, Malcolm said. Grant fraud, federal crime. Third category, donor account irregularities. Between June and October, 11 major donors received revised tax receipts showing reduced donation amounts. Original receipts showed higher contributions. The difference, roughly $63,000 total, vanished from the books. I grabbed a Post-it note, started writing on the kitchen wall. March 14th, first email. May, grant received. July, Monica's employment. September, board coup. October, my erasure. The timeline formed a pattern. Iris, I said carefully, is this incompetence or theft? She paused. Annalise, incompetent people make random mistakes. These transactions follow logic. Money arrives, money moves, paper trails get adjusted, documentation gets destroyed. This is methodical. Malcolm spoke next. I'm seeing organized fraud. Gregory controls the money flow. Monica provides institutional legitimacy as family successor. They're using your bereavement leave as cover for financial crimes. My hands shook. I set down the pen. How bad is this? Iris's voice softened slightly. On a scale of recoverable error to federal investigation, Annalise, this is federal-level fraud, wire fraud, grant fraud, nonprofit fraud. If the FBI gets involved, when they get involved, Gregory's facing serious prison time. The kitchen went quiet. My cold tea sat untouched. Post-it notes covered the wall now, color-coded. Yellow for dates, pink for money, blue for people. All roads led back to March 14th. Iris paused. Annalise, Gregory wasn't just stealing your job. He's using the nonprofit as a laundering operation. This is federal-level fraud. When betrayal becomes conspiracy, what's your next move? Emergency relief is rarely granted, Malcolm said as we walked into Milwaukee County Circuit Court. Rarely isn't never. The courthouse sat downtown, old stone building with marble floors worn smooth by 100 years of footsteps. Security scanner beeped as I passed through. Malcolm carried a leather briefcase, the kind lawyers in movies use. Mine was a canvas tote bag with the center's old logo fading on the side. We took the elevator to the third floor. Clerk's office, gray carpet, beige walls, document timestamp machine humming in the corner. Malcolm approached the counter. Filing an emergency motion for injunctive relief. The clerk, middle-aged woman with reading glasses on a chain, took the papers. 89 pages. Malcolm had worked 72 hours straight preparing them. I watched her flip through, each page tabbed with colored markers, pink for financial exhibits, yellow for email evidence, blue for witness statements, green for the forged signature analysis. Attachments? She asked. Malcolm handed her a thick folder. Exhibit A through R. Forensic financial analysis, email metadata, signature comparison from 3 certified document examiners, affidavits from former staff. The clerk stamped each page. Thunk, 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 rhythmic, final. Filed at 10:23 a.m., she said. Case number 2025, CV 04891. Judge assignment within 48 hours. Malcolm nodded. Thank you. We sat in the waiting area. Hard wooden benches, windows overlooking the street. I counted floor tiles visible from my seat. 412, white with gray flecks, some cracked at the corners. What happens now? I asked. We wait. Judge gets assigned. They review the motion. If they see merit, they schedule a hearing. If they see urgency, they schedule it fast. How fast? Monday, maybe Tuesday. It was Wednesday afternoon. Malcolm's phone buzzed, Friday at 4:47 p.m. I was washing dishes when he called. Annalise, we got Whitmore. Is that good? Judge Teresa Whitmore, 26 years on the bench. Nonprofit law background before she was appointed. Fair, smart, doesn't tolerate fraud. He paused. It's very good. When's the hearing? Monday, 9 a.m. She reviewed the motion personally. Her clerk said she has questions for Mr. Hollis. My hands shook. I set down the dish. He'll be there? He has to be. We named him as a defendant. If he doesn't show, the judge can issue a warrant. 72 hours. Friday evening to Monday morning. They had 9 months to build their lie. You have 48 hours to counter it. Subscribe. Timing decides everything. I didn't sleep much that weekend. Saturday, I reviewed every document Malcolm had filed. Sunday, I pressed my best clothes. Navy pants, white blouse, the blazer I'd worn to Patricia's memorial service. Malcolm texted Sunday night. Be there at 8:30, courtroom 3B. Bring ID and the original manila envelope Ruth sent. I set 3 alarms. Monday morning, I arrived at 8:17 a.m. Malcolm stood outside the courtroom in a gray suit, reviewing notes. Ready? He asked. I held up the manila envelope. Ready. We entered. Wood-paneled room. Judge's bench elevated at the front. Wisconsin State seal on the wall. Clock above the bench read 8:43. Gregory Hollis sat at the defendant's table with his Chicago attorney. He wore an expensive suit. His cufflinks caught the light when he adjusted his sleeves. He didn't look at me. Judge Teresa Whitmore's clerk called at 4:47 p.m. Friday. Hearing scheduled Monday, 9 a.m. The judge reviewed personally. She has questions for Mr. Hollis. Ever had 72 hours feel like 72 years? Judge Whitmore read without looking up. Gregory's attorney stood twice to object. She raised one finger each time. He sat. The courtroom clock showed 9:03 a.m. Judge Teresa Whitmore had gray hair pulled back tight, reading glasses perched low on her nose, and a look that said she'd heard every excuse twice. Her Wisconsin bar certificate on the wall showed 19,999. 26 years on the bench. She held Iris's financial analysis, 73 pages of wire transfers, shell companies, and missing grant money. The court reporter's fingers moved steady across the keys, tap, 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 recording everything. Gregory sat across the aisle. His attorney, tall man with slicked-back hair, kept shuffling papers. Gregory adjusted his cufflinks once, twice, 3 times in 4 minutes. Nervous tell. Judge Whitmore looked up. "Mr. Callahan, your client signed a board resolution terminating Ms. Thorne's employment while she was on bereavement leave, correct?" Gregory's attorney stood. "Your Honor, the board acted within its authority." "I asked if the statement was factually correct." "Yes, Your Honor." "Ms. Thorne's sister died in May. The vote occurred in September, during her bereavement leave." "Correct." Judge Whitmore turned a page. "And this signature," she held up the forged resignation letter, "was dated October 15th, 2 weeks before Patricia Thorne's funeral. Your Honor, we dispute the authenticity claims. You dispute 3 independent document examiners?" Silence. "Your Honor," Callahan tried again, "there are procedural issues with how this evidence was obtained." Judge Whitmore raised one finger. He sat. She read silently for 3 more minutes. The clock above her bench ticked. 9:03, 9:04, 9:05, 9:06, 9:07. At 9:08, she removed her glasses. "Counselor, your client has some explaining to do." Callahan started to stand. She waved him down. "Accounts frozen effective immediately. Board action suspended pending full forensic audit. Ms. Thorne reinstated as interim director. That's effective right now as of 9:08 a.m. She signed a document in front of her. "Fraud investigation referral goes to the State Attorney General today. I'm signing that before lunch." "Your Honor." "I've read 89 pages of evidence, wire transfers to shell companies, forged signatures. A nonprofit founder erased during bereavement leave while her niece takes a $140,000 salary funded by youth employment grants." Judge Whitmore looked directly at Gregory. "Mr. Hollis, if you're still in Wisconsin by Thursday, my advice is to bring a better attorney." Gregory's face went white. "Full audit ordered. Timeline, 60 days. Mr. Hayes, you'll coordinate with the court-appointed monitor. Ms. Thorne, your interim authority is restored immediately, but all financial decisions require monitor approval until the audit clears." Malcolm stood. "Understood, Your Honor." "Anything else?" "No, Your Honor. We're adjourned." She banged the gavel once. Sharp. Final. The clock read 9:14 a.m., 11 minutes, start to finish. Malcolm packed his briefcase. Gregory and his attorney left quickly. No words, no eye contact. I sat still, hands folded, trying to process. "Annalise," Malcolm said quietly, "you just got your organization back." Judge Whitmore removed her glasses. "Counselor, your client has some explaining to do. Accounts frozen, board action suspended. Full forensic audit ordered. Ms. Thorne reinstated as interim director, effective immediately. Fraud investigation referral. I'm signing that today." 11 minutes to dismantle 9 months of theft. What's the fastest you've seen justice move? The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel ran it below the fold, page B3. By noon, it was front page online. I didn't call them. A former center volunteer did. Woman named Carol who'd worked in our food pantry for 12 years. She'd seen the court documents posted online through Wisconsin's public records system. She'd contacted a reporter. 3 days after the hearing, the story broke. Nonprofit founder reinstated after fraud allegations. I bought a physical copy from the corner store. Newsprint smell. Ink slightly smudged on my fingers. My photo ran with the article. Not recent, from 2019. Holding an oversized check at a community award ceremony. I was younger then. Smiling. Surrounded by teenagers from our youth job program. The article laid it out clean. Court injunction. Frozen accounts. Gregory's disappearance after the hearing. Financial irregularities totaling over $400,000. My 32-year legacy. Monica's $140,000 salary. The forged resignation letter. Reporter's name, Sarah Nguyen. She'd called twice. I hadn't answered. Malcolm's advice, don't comment yet. Let the story work. My phone started ringing at 9:47 a.m. Former volunteers, donors, other reporters, State Oversight Agency, County Social Services, 3 board members who'd voted against my termination. By noon, 17 voicemails. I sat at my kitchen table reading the article again. Sarah Nguyen had included quotes from public court documents. Malcolm's filing, Judge Whitmore's order, Iris's financial analysis summary. Documents show systematic financial misconduct spanning 9 months, coordinated to occur during Thorne's bereavement leave following her sister's death. One line hit hard. Thorne founded the center in 1993 with 3 card tables in a church basement. It now serves 14 counties and manages $4.8 million in annual operations. I'd forgotten that number. $4.8 million, from card tables to multi-county operations. The story went online at noon, front page of the Journal-Sentinel's website. Comment section filled fast, mostly supportive, some questioning, a few hostile. Malcolm texted at 12:34 p.m. Don't comment yet, let the story work. Message number 17 arrived at 2:34 p.m. Unknown number. Aunt Annalise, it's Monica. I need to explain. Please. I stared at the screen. Aunt Annalise. She hadn't called me that since before Patricia got sick. My thumb hovered over the callback button. I set the phone down. The newspaper sat on the table, my younger face smiling up from the photo. Those teenagers in the picture were adults now. Some had graduated college. Some had jobs. Some had families. That's what the center was supposed to be about. Not Gregory's shell companies. Not Monica's salary, not my erasure, just people getting help when they needed it. My phone buzzed again, State Attorney General's office. I didn't answer. Malcolm's text came through. Let it work. The newspaper's comment count hit 340 by evening. The story got shared 200 times on social media. 3 more news outlets picked it up. Message number 17, timestamp 2:34 p.m. Unknown number. Aunt Annalise. It's Monica. I need to explain, please. When the villain calls asking for mercy, do you answer? Gregory Hollis resigned via email from an address ending in .ky, Cayman Islands domain. Subject line, immediate resignation, personal reasons. Malcolm forwarded it to me Wednesday afternoon, 2 days after the newspaper story broke, 4 days after the court hearing. The email was short, 2 sentences. Effective immediately, I resign from all positions with the Ethelgard Initiative and its board of directors. This decision is final and irreversible. No explanation, no apology, no acknowledgement of the fraud, the theft, the destruction. Just 2 sentences from the Cayman Islands. He ran, I said to Malcolm on the phone. He did. Can he do that? He can try. Iris is already tracking him. Iris Chen called 15 minutes later. Malcolm on conference. IP address trace shows Georgetown, Grand Cayman. Email sent from Hotel Marquis Business Center at 6:43 a.m. local time. He's using a commercial VPN, but the routing's sloppy. Can you find him? I asked. I already did. He's staying at the hotel, booked under his own name. Either he's stupid or he doesn't think anyone's looking. Malcolm's voice went flat. He's about to learn otherwise. The federal investigation? I asked. Accelerating, Malcolm said. Wire fraud, non-profit fraud. Possible RICO implications if we can connect him to other schemes. The state attorney general referred it to FBI this morning. And his law license? Illinois bar suspended it pending investigation. He can't practice law anywhere in the U.S. right now, Iris continued. I'm documenting his travel. Flight records show he left Chicago O'Hare Monday night, 6 hours after the court hearing. One-way ticket, first class, paid cash. Cash? Malcolm asked. $4,700? He didn't want a credit card trail. But he left a trail anyway. Email headers, IP addresses, hotel reservations, flight manifests. Malcolm's observation came dry, tired. People who flee rarely return for trial. Will they extradite him? I asked. Cayman Islands has an extradition treaty with the U.S. for fraud cases. If the FBI builds a strong case, and with Iris's evidence they can request his return. Whether he fights it is another question. How long does that take? Months? Maybe a year. But Annalise, here's the important part. You don't need him to come back. The case against the organization moves forward without him. Your reinstatement stands. The audit continues. The scholarship fund for Patricia still happens. Gregory's disappearance actually helps us. It's evidence of guilt. Innocent people don't flee to the Cayman Islands after 11-minute hearings. I sat with that. Gregory gone. Monica silent. The center frozen but functioning under court supervision. Me reinstated on paper but not returned. My phone buzzed. Email notification. Board emergency meeting request. Sunday morning. Agenda. CEO status. M.E. Thorne. Malcolm, I just got an emergency board meeting notice. Sunday. Yes, Monica's status. Silence on the line. Then, she hasn't resigned yet. No, she will, or the board will force her out. After Gregory's flight and the newspaper coverage, keeping her is institutional suicide. Iris spoke up. For what it's worth, Annalise, Monica's salary stopped Monday. The account freeze prevents all non-essential payments. She's not getting paid. Small comfort, but comfort. They vanish when the walls close in. Subscribe. You'll see how the last one falls. The board called emergency meeting for Sunday. Agenda item 1, CEO status, M.E. Thorne. Monica hadn't resigned. Yet. Monica stood in my apartment hallway at 8:17 a.m. Sunday, eyes red, holding nothing. I didn't know about the money. The board meeting was scheduled for noon. She'd arrived 4 hours early. I hadn't answered her calls. 17 messages over 5 days, all unanswered. Now she stood at my door wearing a wrinkled coat over sweatpants and an old t-shirt. Her hair unwashed, no makeup, hands shaking. "Can I come in?" she asked. I stepped aside. My apartment was small, 1 bedroom, kitchen with a table barely big enough for 2. I didn't offer coffee. I didn't offer a seat. Monica stood by the table. I stood by the sink. "I didn't know about the money," she repeated. "You said that." "The wire transfers, the shell companies, Gregory's foundation. I didn't know until the newspaper story." "What did you know?" She looked down. "Gregory approached me in March. Mom was sick. You were at the hospital constantly. He said the center needed transition planning, that you'd been talking about retiring." I never said that. I know that now. But he had emails, board concerns, donor questions about succession. He made it sound real. "So you believed him?" "He said it was about honoring you, modernizing operations while protecting your legacy. He showed me organizational charts, 5-year plans, expansion proposals, and you signed papers without reading them." Monica's face crumpled. "Yes." "When did you learn about the salary?" "Not until July. It showed up in my bank account. $11,600. I called Gregory. He said it was standard for executive directors, that comparable organizations paid more, that the board had approved it." "Did you ask to see the board approval?" "No." "Why not?" Silence. "Monica, why didn't you ask?" "Because I wanted to believe him." Her voice broke. "Because Mom was dying and you were grieving, and I thought maybe I could actually do this. Build something. Honor the family. Make Mom proud. By erasing me." "I didn't know they were erasing you. Gregory said you'd agreed to advisory role, founder emeritus, that you'd stay involved." I was locked out of my own building. I didn't know that until after it happened. He said it was a security upgrade, new systems, that everyone's access was being reset. And my email termination? I didn't see that until you filed the lawsuit. I watched her carefully, studying her face, the trembling hands, the unwashed hair, the coat she'd maybe slept in. "When did you find out about the wire transfers?" I asked. "The newspaper." I read it the same day you did." She looked up, eyes red and wet. "I called Gregory immediately. He didn't answer. I called his office. They said he'd resigned. I looked at the financial records myself, the ones I could still access. I saw the shell companies, the transfers, the missing grant money." "And you did what?" I threw up. Then I called a lawyer. Then I tried to call you. I made coffee. Not for her. For me. My hands needed something to do. Monica stayed standing. "The board meeting's in 4 hours," I said. "What are you going to do?" "Resign." "Good. Will you accept my apology?" I poured coffee. Steam rising. The kitchen was too quiet. "I don't know yet," I said finally. "Ask me in a year." "I didn't know about the money," Monica repeated. I believed her, barely. "But you knew about me," I said. "You knew what they were doing to me and you let it happen." She had no answer for that. Ignorance versus complicity. Where's the line? Monica's resignation letter was 1 sentence long. She read it aloud, standing, then walked out. 14 board members watched her go. No one followed. The emergency board meeting started at noon in the Ethelgard Initiative conference room. Same room where Gregory had erased me 6 weeks earlier. Same table, same chairs, different people at the head. I sat in the back corner again, not by choice, by habit. Court-appointed monitor, woman named Dr. Ellen Vasquez from the State Oversight Board, sat beside the chairperson. She took notes in a leather journal, every word recorded for court files. Monica entered at 12:03 p.m. No suit this time, jeans and a sweater, hair pulled back, face bare. She carried 1 sheet of paper. The chairperson, board member named Thomas Chen, who'd voted against my termination in September, called the meeting to order. First agenda item, CEO status, Monica Elaine Thorne. Monica stood. She didn't approach the front. She read from where she stood. Effective immediately, I resign all positions with the Ethelgard Initiative. I apologize to Annalise Thorne, to this board, and to the community we serve. I take full responsibility for my failures of judgment and oversight. Thank you. Her voice broke once. On, I apologize. Then steadied. She set the paper on the table, turned, walked to the door. 14 board members sat silent. Monica glanced back once, at me, not at the board. I didn't nod, didn't wave, didn't acknowledge. She left. The door closed with the same soft click I'd heard 6 weeks ago when they locked me out. Nobody followed her. Thomas Chen cleared his throat. Motion to accept resignation? So moved, someone said. Second? Second. All in favor? 13 hands went up. 1 abstention, Bethany, the young board member who'd asked about the new executive director during Gregory's presentation. She looked uncomfortable, but didn't vote. Motion carries, 13-0 with 1 abstention. Resignation accepted. Dr. Vasquez wrote in her journal. The pen scratched loud in the quiet room. Thomas continued. Next item, suspension of all policy changes implemented during the period of September 1st through November 15th. That covered everything. Every decision Gregory made, every vote Monica participated in, every change to my organization. So moved. Second. All in favor? 14 hands this time. Bethany voted yes. Unanimous. Policies suspended pending governance review. Dr. Vasquez kept writing. Final item. Commission Independent Governance Review to be completed within 90 days. Results filed with the Court and State Oversight Board. So moved. Second. All in favor? Unanimous again. The CEO nameplate still sat on the conference table. Bronze with M.E. Thorne engraved on it. Nobody had moved it. It sat there like evidence, like a reminder. Thomas adjourned the meeting at 12:19 p.m. 16 minutes. Monica's entire tenure ended in 16 minutes. Dr. Vasquez approached me as people filed out. She handed me a folder. Settlement proposal, drafted by court mediator at Judge Whitmore's request. Your attorney has a copy. They're offering full restoration, back pay, title correction, public acknowledgement, memorial scholarship fund. Review it carefully. I took the folder. Heavy. Official court seal on the front. How long do I have? 72 hours to respond, accept or proceed to full trial. The monitor handed me a folder after adjournment. Settlement proposal, drafted by court mediator. Your attorney has a copy. They're offering full restoration. When they finally offer what they stole, is it still justice? The settlement terms fit on 2 pages. Malcolm had already circled 3 paragraphs in green ink, the ones that mattered. We sat in a mediation office Wednesday afternoon. Neutral ground, not the courthouse, not Malcolm's office. Some conference room downtown with gray walls and a table big enough for 6 people. Present. Court mediator, Malcolm, me, the board's attorney, Dr. Vasquez as monitor. The board's attorney, middle-aged woman named Jennifer Park, pushed copies of the settlement across the table. Terms are straightforward, she said. Full restitution and institutional correction. I read slowly. Item 1, back pay. Full compensation for 32 years of service. Adjusted for inflation and comparable executive director salaries in similar organizations. Total, $847,000. I blinked. $847,000. Item 2, title restoration official recognition as founder and director emerita. Historical records amended. All termination paperwork voided. Public statement acknowledging error and apologizing for institutional failures. Item 3, memorial scholarship, Patricia Ann Thorne. Memorial scholarship for social work students, $250,000 endowment. First award within 6 months. Annalise Thorne named a scholarship selection committee. Malcolm had circled this one twice. Item 4, governance reforms, independent board training, enhanced financial oversight, founder protections written into bylaws, whistleblower policies, annual audits. Item 5, no admission of individual liability settlement applies to institutional actions only. Individual defendants, Gregory Hollis, Monica Thorne, remain subject to criminal investigation. Jennifer spoke again. Board wants closure. You've won the moral case. This makes it permanent without years of trial. I looked at Malcolm. He leaned close, quiet. You've already won the moral case. This makes it permanent. What if I say no? Trial. Probably 3 years. You'd likely win more money. But 3 years of depositions, testimony, appeals. Gregory's fled the country. Monica's broke. The organization's under court supervision. What more do you get from trial besides time? I looked out the window. The Ethelgard Initiative sat 3 blocks away, visible between office buildings. New sign going up, workers on ladders. The monitor spoke up. Ms. Thorne, I've reviewed the center's current operations. Services continue. Families receiving assistance. Youth programs running. New leadership doing solid work. This settlement lets them move forward. Trial keeps them frozen. I read the terms again. $847,000. My name corrected. Patricia Scholarship. Governance reforms so this couldn't happen to the next founder. How many families are currently receiving assistance? I asked. Dr. Vasquez checked her tablet. 147 households, 18 youth in summer job pipeline. 3 new hire interviews scheduled next week. 147 families, 18 teenagers. I thought about the woman who'd contacted the newspaper, Carol, who'd worked the food pantry for 12 years. Thought about Ruth, who'd sent me the manila envelope. Thought about the 3 staff members who'd quietly resigned and given Malcolm their witness statements. They'd protected the center by protecting me. Winning in court isn't the same as winning your life back. Subscribe. The next choice might be yours. The families, I said. How many are currently receiving assistance? The monitor checked her tablet. 147 households, 18 youth in summer job pipeline. I signed the settlement. Choose your legacy or choose revenge. Which wins? I picked up the pen. Malcolm slid the signature page toward me. I signed. Annalise Thorne. Same signature they'd forged, but this time it was real. Settlement accepted, Jennifer said. The mediator countersigned. Dr. Vasquez witnessed. Malcolm made copies. Done. Patricia's name went on the plaque in bronze. Patricia Ann Thorne Memorial Scholarship for Social Work Students. She'd have hated the fuss and loved the permanence. 6 weeks after the settlement, the center held a small ceremony, not a grand event. Just board members, a few donors, staff, and the first scholarship recipient. I attended as a guest. Not staff, not director. Just Annalise Thorne, Patricia's sister, founder emerita. The plaque hung in the main hallway near the entrance, bronze with black lettering, Patricia's full name, her dates, 1956, 2025. Below that, in memory of a life devoted to service and community. Below that, scholarship criteria, social work students, first-generation college students, Wisconsin residents, annual award, renewable. Below that, the first recipient's name, Alicia Moreno, 22 years old. West Milwaukee, first-generation college student, junior at UW Milwaukee studying social work, GPA 3.7, volunteer experience at 3 shelters, wanted to work in family services. She stood beside the plaque during the unveiling, looking nervous and proud. Thomas Chen, board chairperson, gave brief remarks, thanked the donors, acknowledged Patricia's legacy, mentioned the settlement only once, carefully. During a difficult transition period, this scholarship emerged as a commitment to the values that built this organization. Diplomatic. Alicia spoke next. Short speech, typed on note cards she kept glancing at. This scholarship means I can finish school without working 3 jobs. It means I can focus on my field placement. It means someone I never met believed in students like me. She looked at me. Thank you, Ms. Thorne. I won't waste this opportunity. I shook her hand afterward. Her grip was firm, confident. You'll do great work, I said. Nothing about lawsuits, nothing about fraud, just possibility. I hope so, she said. I want to help families stay together. That's what Patricia did, right? Kept communities together? Yes, that's exactly what she did. Alicia smiled and moved to talk with other attendees. I stayed by the plaque, ran my fingers over Patricia's name. Bronze felt cool, permanent. Someone touched my shoulder, Dr. Vasquez, the monitor. Beautiful tribute, she said. Patricia would have made a joke about her name on a wall. But she'd have loved the impact? Yes. Dr. Vasquez handed me an envelope. From Monica, asked me to give it to you. Inside, a card, 3 sentences in Monica's handwriting. Aunt Annalise, I'm sorry doesn't cover it. I'll spend years earning back trust I destroyed in months. The scholarship is the only good thing that came from my mistakes. Signed, Monica. Not love, Monica. Not your niece. Just Monica. I folded the card, put it in my purse. After the reception, I left through the main entrance, past the plaque one more time. Patricia's name in bronze. Permanent. I didn't return to the building after the reception. The center belonged to the 147 families now, the 18 teenagers, the scholarship recipients to come. It had never belonged to me. I just protected it long enough. What would you build from the ashes? Page 1, Section 1.3, Black ink. Annalise Thorne, Founder and Director Emerita, 1993-2025. Permanent, in writing. Finally. Malcolm's office, early March. Final settlement meeting. Snow melting outside the window, spring coming. Wisconsin winter finally releasing its grip. Malcolm slid the document across his desk. The Ethelgard Initiative's updated bylaws, bound, official, filed with the state. I opened to page 1, Section 1.1, Mission Statement, unchanged. Section 1.2, Founding History. The Ethelgard Initiative was founded in 1993 by Annalise Thorne, who served as volunteer coordinator, director, and chief architect of the organization's growth from a church basement food pantry to a multi-county service provider. Section 1.3, Founder Recognition. Annalise Thorne, founder and director emerita, 1993-2025, holds permanent honorary status. This title cannot be removed, modified, or reassigned. I read it 3 times. Cannot be removed, modified, or reassigned. It's filed with the state, Malcolm said. Stamped. Recorded. Public record. This can't be erased now. I ran my finger across the page. Official state seal in the corner. Filing date, March 8, 2025. Certification number. Signatures from board chairperson, secretary, and court monitor. Real. The governance reforms are in sections 4 through 7. Malcolm continued. Founder protections, board term limits, financial oversight requirements, whistleblower policies, everything to prevent this from happening again. I flipped through. Page after page of protections, written in legal language but meaning safety, accountability, dignity. Malcolm smiled. Small, rare, the kind of smile lawyers give when they've done their job correctly and thoroughly. How does it feel? He asked. Tired. That's fair. But permanent. Yes, very permanent. I closed the bylaws. The document was maybe 40 pages. Thick, heavy, real. Outside the window, last snow dripped from building ledges. March in Wisconsin meant mud and hope, winter's end, spring's promise. The board sent a letter, Malcolm said, handing me another envelope. Formal apology, public statement. They want to publish it in the annual report. I opened it. Letterhead, board signatures, 3 paragraphs acknowledging institutional failures, apologizing for Annalise Thorne's treatment, committing to reform, diplomatic, careful. But sincere enough. You could return, you know, Malcolm said. The board would reinstate you fully. Interim director could stay interim. You could resume leadership. I looked at the bylaws. My name. My title. Permanent in black ink. I already did what I came back to do. Malcolm nodded. He'd expected that answer. Then we're done. Settlement complete. Bylaws filed. Scholarship funded. Your name restored. He stood, offered his hand. It's been an honor, Annalise. I shook his hand. Firm grip. Mutual respect. Thank you, Malcolm, for all of it. You did the hard part. I just filed the paperwork. You did more than that. He smiled again. Maybe, but you're the one who didn't walk away. You could return, you know, Malcolm said. The board would reinstate you fully. I looked at the document. My title. Finally correct. Finally permanent. I already did what I came back to do. When your name is finally in ink, do you need anything else? The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel ran the follow-up 6 months later, page B1, Ethelgard Initiative founder, honored reforms complete. I read it at the library. Someone had already clipped and saved it in the community news binder. Life had found a rhythm by then. I consulted part-time for 3 smaller nonprofits. Governance only. No daily operations, no drama. Just helping other founders protect what they'd built. Making sure their names made it onto page 1 of their bylaws before someone tried to erase them. 2 mornings a week, I volunteered at Patricia's old community garden, West Side. 12 raised beds. Tomatoes, peppers, herbs. Donated produce went to food pantries. Soil under my nails. Sun on my face. Work that stayed simple. Every spring, I attended the scholarship ceremony at the Ethelgard Initiative. Watched new recipients get their awards, shook their hands, told them Patricia would be proud. The center thrived. New executive director, woman named Keisha Williams. 20 years nonprofit experience, no family connections to anybody. Staff expanded to 28. Services now covered 16 counties. Federal grant restored. Financial oversight tight. Gregory Hollis faced federal trial in September. Wire fraud, nonprofit fraud, conspiracy. I didn't need to testify. The paper trail, Iris's forensics, Ruth's documents, my forged signature, told the story without me. His attorney requested a plea deal. The prosecutor declined. Monica relocated to Oregon, Portland. Social work job at a homeless shelter, entry level. She sent holiday cards. Thanksgiving, Christmas. Simple messages. No requests for forgiveness, no expectations. I read them. Didn't reply yet. Maybe someday. Not now. The coffee mug from 1997 sat on my home desk, still chipped, still useful. Patricia's watch kept time on my wrist. Silver face. Black leather band. Reliable. Last Tuesday, I walked past the Ethelgard Initiative. New sign. Fresh paint. Parking lot full of cars at 10 a.m., staff arriving, clients coming in, programs running. I didn't go in. Stood on the sidewalk across the street, watched people enter through the main doors, past the plaque with Patricia's name, went about their lives. The center didn't need me anymore. Maybe it never did. Maybe I'd just protected it long enough for the next generation to take over. That felt right. My name was on page 1 of the bylaws, filed with the state, permanent in black ink, founder and director emerita, cannot be removed, modified, or reassigned. The story was finally written correctly, in a hand that couldn't be erased, mine. I walked past the Ethelgard Initiative last Tuesday. New sign, fresh paint, parking lot full. I didn't go in. I didn't need to. My name was on page 1 of the bylaws filed with the state, permanent in black ink. The story was finally written in a hand that couldn't be erased, mine.